Hello everyone, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Let's wait for another 2 minutes and then we will start. People are still joining. So, yes, I think it's good to start. So, yep, today I'm going to show like how we can install this Python softwares and like how we can use this, how we can do conversation with our whatever the comments we want to give. Okay, so let's get started. So, let me share my screen. Can you guys can see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So for that installation and all these things, I just created a small guide for you all. That is actually in that PDF documentation. Okay. That I can call it as manual to install that Anaconda on Windows. Whoever using Mac, okay, so they could also follow the same thing. But while doing an installation, you need to select your operating system. That's it. So by default, it will be as in a Windows, but you have to switch it into Mac. Okay, because I'm not using Mac to showcase these things. I'm using a Windows. Okay, so first thing is, so the first step, just to click on this link, download Anaconda installer. This is what we needed at the very beginning. So you can just click on this link. Okay, you don't need to type, you don't need to blog anything. Okay, this will directly take you to that original uh, link for that. And here you can just see, so we have multiple tabs over here: platform, solution, pricing, partners, resource, and company. So if you are running any of the organization, so then if you need any good Anaconda with some spaces, some executors, some more advantages, you can go with a paid one also. But for our training and for our internal purpose, open source and free software is enough. Okay, so that's why I'm always recommending you to just go through with only that free download, so we don't need any of the paid Anaconda versions. Okay, so that is actually huge, so that much we are not going to consume. So just you can go here, and if you are interested, just check that pricing details also. So like pricing, like business for enterprises. So you can just check on like what is the cost and what are the additional services which Anaconda is going to provide to us. So this all you guys can just take a look on this way. And otherwise, just go on free download button here. So just go here. So here, so Anaconda distribution free download tab. So here you can see the free distribution install thousands of the most fundamental DS like data science, artificial intelligence, and ML packages. Okay, manage packages and environments from desktop application, deploy across hardware and software platforms. Okay, these are the advantages which we could achieve by this Anaconda. Okay, so by default, if you guys can see, this is a Windows symbol. So it is selected as a default Windows option with the very first step. So if you are using Mac, you can just click on it over here. if you are going to install this Anaconda in your virtual machine that is in the Linux operating system, you can go here. But here I'm using this Anaconda, so that's why I'm just click on here. Once you clicked on here, this download will get started. So I'll pause this one because the software is already installed in my system. Okay. Once you are installed with this Anaconda Excel exe file, okay, you have to execute this file. Once you have executed the executor file, you have to execute it, right? So that we will do. I'll just go to download. Maybe I could have the
Vikrant?
download. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, sorry for cutting you off. So
Yeah,
one
that's
question: what is this Anaconda? Is means what is this a platform or means what it is exactly?
Yeah, it is actually a platform. So where you need to install your Python supported softwares. So let's say by default Anaconda is providing in a notebooks. So and if you are installed this Anaconda, you no need to install the Python externally. Okay. So with this
Okay.
Anaconda, you will get a Jupyter notebook, kernels, and background applications. So if you want to run any of the Python codes, right? So in the background, you need some executors to run your Python codes because Python is an in-memory computation. Whatever you are going to run from the Python, so it's internally in its memory, it is going to execute. So for taking care of all these things, we are using this Anaconda, okay, as a platform.
So Python can be executed only on Anaconda platform.
Yeah, in Anaconda, we have any other software. So you can consider this Anaconda as a Play Store in your mobile. So in your Play Store, you have any multiple applications, right? So in the same way, in Anaconda also you can find a multiple application which supported for both Python, R, and PySpark. These three programming languages. Okay.
So it's simply like a cloud where we have everything and we can have our things written and deploy and execute, something like that.
I can't say like it is a cloud. It's in a local
Ah,
services. It's not a cloud.
okay.
So it's
Okay.
just in a softwares we are going to use like you can say that this Anaconda is a bucket and in that bucket we have any multiple software to use. But so for all the software, this is the backend. So this will be taken care of all the executors and managing all the required resources.
Thank you, Vikrant.
Yep. Then once you have installed that executor file, that is actually nearly it's a 1 GB. Okay, that executor files. So once you downloaded that, you can just execute that file. So maybe I can have that executor over here. Yeah, here I have that executor that is Anaconda 3 2023. See, this is actually the date where when I downloaded this one. So this is actually a Windows version. If I clicked on this software, this executor file, so this is going to ask few of the questions, few of the comments from us to install the softwares. Okay, so by step, I just pasted a screenshots over here like how you guys need to proceed. Okay, the second step is click on that pricing option to view multiple versions of Anaconda if with your interest. Okay, otherwise you can skip the steps and then you can directly go to a free download. So that I already shown, just go to free download button. There you can select your operating system, but be careful that by default it is a Windows. If you want to change, you can change your operating systems. Sorry, operating system versions of the Anaconda. Okay. Then once it is finished, you can just double click on that your executor files. Then this pop-up will arise. Okay. Once it is arised, you need to agree the license. So in the same way, where I just here in the same way, you can just press a next and can accept this agreement. Okay, then the another step would be so installation for just me for all other users. Okay, so if you are going to use this just me, only you guys can use it and it will ask an admin permission for to use your Anaconda. Like if you guys want to install any of the softwares internally, again and again this will ask for admin permissions and admin password user ID and password, all these things. Okay. So anyhow, we are in the learning stage, right? So we don't need that privacy and all these things, but it is recommended if you are really using in your working environment, it is recommended. But at this moment, better to go with an all users to avoid the conflict and to avoid the difficulties while while installing in a multiple softwares inside of the Anaconda. Okay, so I just given a small uh, explanation also over here why I'm going to select this all users. See here, I'm just selected this all users over here while doing any installations. Okay, just select this all users checkbox and press next. It is asking now. Why? Yeah. So if you are not, if you are, but this is asking me admin permission. That is all users. So at this moment, I'm just going with an adjust me. But if you guys are using your own systems and all those things, right? But my system restricted with some of the things. So just I'm going with an adjust me instead of going with an all users. Okay. So once you click on that next button after selecting this, so it's the next step to select your location where you need to save all the executable files. So let's say in your C drive, if you don't have any spaces and all, if you have any space in any other drive in any other location, you can just select that place because space required is 4.7 GB to save all these executable files. Okay, so be sure on that. Like if that storage is not enough, so I will not will get some fail message while doing an execution. So once you selected this one, like you can just browse it where you want to save it. Okay, once that is done, so you can press a next button. Then once you are done with that, so another step would be it is asking for another checkbox. Okay, create start menu shortcuts in your like if it's okay, like check to all these three checkbox. Okay, what happened if you check this first button? Then what happened? So this Anaconda is created a shortcut key in your desktop. If you want, you can just do it. Otherwise, you can just uncheck this box because I'm personally recommending you guys needs to like avoid adding a shortcuts of any of the application on the desktops. Okay, please avoid it. So otherwise your desktop looks like okay, what you can say circuit level, circuit like that. Okay, then another checkbox would be register Anaconda 3 as the system Python version. So yes, we need in a Python. So that's why you can check check this box. Okay. Then clear the packages sketch upon the completion. So that also you can check it. Okay. Don't get any don't make any confuse. It's okay if you go with all these three. Otherwise, you can just skip this first one. Okay. Once that is done, again the final magic button would be install. So once you press this install button, it will take some 1 to 2 minutes of time. So be patient on that. So once that is done, you can just press next and finish button. That's it. So your Anaconda will be successfully installed in your local system. Any questions? I'll share this guide with you all. Okay, just take a reference of this one. So it's actually a small one. Okay, so you without this manual also you can do that. It's very easy to install. Any questions? If you don't have this manual, okay, so just go to your browser. Okay, just go your browser and just type Anaconda installer. That's it. Okay, so you can just go free download. That's it. Just then go ahead with whatever the procedure which I explained. Any questions so far? Is all good?
No questions, Vikrant. Yeah, good.
Great. Then once installed, what next? Can anyone answer for this question? What next? Once installation is done. Ah, come on. So once installation is done, we should use that, right? That is a simple
To run
answer.
the software.
Yeah, we should use that. So
Yes.
let's see how this Anaconda looks. Anaconda is available with two phases. Okay, one is in a UI phase and another one is in a prompt phase. Can anybody say like what is UI?
User interface.
Exactly. Prompt means
It's like a CLI.
yes, exactly. So because why I asked this question in my previous batches, some people has asked like I thought that those people know that UI and prompt and all, but again they are asked like what is UI and all those things. So to avoid that confusion, I just asked. Okay, then so Anaconda again available with these like two phases. Though I will show both the phases of Anaconda. Okay. So let's search Anaconda here. So you can see if I search Anaconda over here, just I search the ANA, that's it. So you can see Anaconda prompt and Anaconda navigator. This is a user interface. Then this is a prompt. This is like a CLI. Okay. So let's first go with our navigator. So I'll just click on this one again. So okay, so once you clicked on that Anaconda navigator, just sit quiet. Okay, don't to close, don't do anything from your system. This will automatically pop up some of the command prompts and all those things. Don't close it. Just wait for to execute. Okay, all of you agree with that?
Yeah.
Adding featured channels, loading users. Yes. Now we can see, you guys can see that Anaconda navigator. I'll see every day. Okay. But you guys can see, this is the first time I think you guys are seeing this Anaconda, like how it is, how it looks. Correct? See here, application, all application, I just filtered it. So this is the environment, that is base environment. So you guys can see data spell. This is also the software, CMD prompt, notebook, Jupyter, like this is a Jupyter notebook. This is Jupyter lab. I'll show this both of this Jupyter version. Okay. So then PowerShell prompt, Qt console, VS Code, Spider, Data Lore, IBM Watson Studio Cloud, Oracle, Glue, uh, Orange 3, PyCharm, and RStudio, right? These are the most commonly used software on the market. Okay. If you mention like Jupyter, uh, a Spider, VS Code, RStudio, PyCharm. Okay. So that sets a good value for your profile. Okay. But you should be flexible for a faster coding and faster execution and faster production, faster in the production level productivity. Okay. So how we can launch this software? So this is all the softwares. So if that software is not installed, don't worry. Just click on this install button. Okay. If that software is already installed in your local system, then what it is going to show? It is going to show launch button. If it is not installed, so it will show that install button. You can just install it from here. Otherwise, you can just go their official pages of those particular software and just install it. Let's say, for example, if that VS Code is by default is not installed in your system, in your Anaconda UI, okay. So just go search on VS Code and install it. Okay, these are the very easy softwares to install. Okay, once it is installed, you can see that launch button over here. From here also you can launch it, like Jupyter Notebook, Jupyter Lab. From here also you can launch it. From the prompt, also you can launch it. I'll show both the ways, don't worry. And next, this is actually a home. Now we have an environment. If you want to create any particular environment for your software development, let's say you are doing one project. Okay, that project requires some of the requirements, like some softwares, some libraries, some third-party libraries needs to be installed, but that software should not impact on any other environment. So in that case, you can create your own environment and you can do your development on that. Okay. So right now, actually, I have in 3 environments. Okay, base, like attempt and a test environment. Okay, so always I'm going with a base only because it's just in a training session, right? It's not affecting anymore. So I'm just using most commonly used libraries only. So you can see if I clicked on this base, so these are the things which is already installed. Okay, so you can see, um, I'll show some of the libraries. Okay, as you can see, Colorama and Conda build, and see IPython, iSort. These are the libraries. Python third-party libraries. Okay. See, where is that? Yeah, Matplotlib, base, Matplotlib. These are the like Python libraries for visualization. So those things are already installed, like NumPy. Maybe there should be a pandas here. Uh, yeah, pandas. So these libraries are already installed in my this particular environment. If you created any new environment, okay, if you created any new environment, these libraries will not be available. You need to import, you need to download like explicitly in that particular environment, and that you should use. Clear on the environments? This is just like in a virtual environments, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you really want to need any learning of the softwares and all, we have some, they are provided some good documents over here. So in your free time, you can take a look on that. Like Python tutorials, they also provided some guides, and for pandas, NumPy. Okay. So just it's a small document. So with your interest, you can just take a look into that. And so this is again a community. If you really want to contribute anything to this Anaconda, I can just join into this Anaconda community. So these are the options available with this Anaconda UI, and these are the applications. You guys can see it over here. Any questions so far?
This is nothing to do with technology, right? This is just like execution environment, right? Like if you are working .NET and Java projects, do we need to install particular these applications, or it's nothing to do with the technology?
So you need to use this only this applications only. So why I'm showing this environment, right? So in the real time, what happened? So that particular, like let's say that XYZ project. So that software requires pandas, NumPy, and some other third-party libraries. But those libraries with versions are different. So if that version was changed then compared to other projects, it may face some conflict, some failures on on that software execution. So that's why in the real time, if you are doing any real time projects, so in that case, you need to create your own environment. So in that one environment, you should launch your softwares, and in that
Oh.
environment only you should work.
Okay.
So right now you can see by default what I selected, base.
Yeah.
Right. If I open this Jupyter Notebook or VS Code or any software, all that code, like whatever the code execution which I am doing through Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook, so those execution will occur on this particular environment.
Okay. First, we need to set up environment. Then we can use these applications to execute.
Yes, by default, base environment is already created. You no need to create any environment. But if you are going to doing any particular development, then you can just create it and just set it as a default, and then you can use it.
So
I will
these
show.
libraries are
Okay, I will show like how we can create a new environment with some commands and all. So this is actually a manual steps. So if you have this UI, it's like launching here and go here. It's actually a manual step.
If
But
I create my own environment, does it support for all applications, whatever is listed here?
yes,
Okay. Okay.
for each environment, do we need to download those libraries manually or automatically based on the commands we need to install those libraries?
you can download it manually also. You can just give the commands also. Both will work. So that's why Anaconda is available with command prompt and as well as UI.
Okay.
You can just give pip install pandas, pip install numpy. So then
So,
what happened? So from the command prompt itself on that particular environment, this is going to download.
okay. Generally in Golang, since I come from the Golang background, since
Mhm.
if we are using particular libraries or something like that, it goes and when we do the Go modules, it generally downloads all the packages.
Mhm.
It will make a list. So is something like that happens over here, or we have to manually do everything over here?
No, if you are freshly created your environment, right? So that
Mm.
third-party libraries you should install particularly. So this
Oh,
will not take any automatic download and all. So that is what the reason. Like if it is goes in the same way, if it is automatically gets downloaded the third-party libraries, okay, affect it may affect within a versions. So Python libraries are available within multiple versions. So each version have some good changes. Okay, let's say you created a softwares on 1 years back. Okay, then what you are doing, you are going to copy the same project in but another environment by with installation of that default libraries. Then what happened? If it is selecting any latest version of the latest version of any of the packages, that might not support your softwares. Then your software gets breaked, right? So that's why only in that particular environment, you should download your third-party libraries with the version explicitly. What are the requirements you have that you can. Otherwise, from the software itself, you can define your requirements.txt file. So from that file, you can execute it. So all the required third-party libraries gets downloaded into your environment. Clear?
NumPy is the third-party library, or it is a built-in one? NumPy,
No, it's a third-party library.
third-party.
NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Scikit-learn, Stats Model, and all these libraries are third-party libraries. Okay, so this OS, arc parser, time, date time, these are the like base libraries. Yeah, we have a list of libraries, okay, on the market. So we cannot say in our body like these are the things, these are the third party, these are the base libraries. We have thousands of libraries on the market. Not thousand plus. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Yep. Then, so we are done with that phase, UI phase, right? Let's see how that prompt looks like. So again, I'll type this Anaconda. I'll just search that Anaconda. So I'll just open this Anaconda prompt. You can see this is looks like a CLI. Okay. So here you guys can one thing you guys can observe, that is base. What it means?
the root environment, which
Yes.
we are.
Here which we are selected as an environment, that is base. Correct. So if you change any of the other environment into by default, then what happened? You guys can see that other environment name. Okay. So let's say if I installed any software by giving a command like pip install numpy. Okay. Then what happened? This library is going to install on this environment. Now you got it right.
Yeah.
For any library, we are using this command, pip install.
Yes,
This is
exactly.
common for all
Yes.
libraries. Yeah.
So otherwise you can just search numpy and just go there, numpy py python pi. Okay, see, you can just see, this is the command to install. This is the official document of numpy. Pip installed numpy. You can just copy it over here and paste it. Oh, what I'm doing. Okay. So, but actually this is the command pip install. It means it is going to install that particular library. So if you want to install that library with any particular version, you can mention it is equal to that version name. Okay. So if you go to that any of the libraries documents, you can see the versions. Okay. You can see the latest version released on February 6, 2024. Okay. This is keep on updating the things. Okay, I'll come to this one later when we have an classes
Suppose
for
we
this
are not
third-party libraries.
one
Yeah.
question. Suppose we are not mentioning any version, what
Mhm.
version default it is taking based on the
Latest version.
latest version? Okay.
Yeah. The latest version it is going to take, because the latest version is the recommended version that all the developers was already given. Okay, so that NumPy NumPy developers was giving the default version as a recommended version. Recommended version would be latest version only. Okay. Yeah. So yes, this is actually the prompt. So you can provide any, you can give any CLI commands also. CLI commands also works over here. So you can launch your software from Anaconda also. Like how we can launch it? If I want to launch the Jupyter notebook, okay, how we can launch it? So you can just type Jupyter space notebook. Okay. So wait for that execution. So it's searching for a server to execute it. Okay. So once that server is executed, so you no need to do anything. Automatically, this Jupyter notebook will runs on your default search engines. Okay. In default browsers. See, my default browser is Microsoft Edge. So that's why in the Microsoft Edge, this is automatically gets triggered. So if I go again into that prompt, you can see here, the server is still running. Don't close this server. Okay, if you close the server, what happened? This is going to die. Let's see. Here I'm just pressing in a Control C. Control C in the sense I'm just interrupting. I'm just closing it, closing the service. Okay. See now, if I reload this page, what happened? Wait for a second. See, you cannot see that page. You cannot see that Jupyter notebook over here. Again, I'm going to write this Jupyter notebook over here. The server is going to run now. Again, it is pop up and it is executed. Okay, this is how it works. So whatever the programs you are going to run, so in the backend it is going to give the comments. If you are printing any of the things over here from the code, so that is also printing on the backend from this console. So this pop-up is not triggered from your default browser. You should do one thing is you can just copy this link, this complete link, and paste it in your favorite browser. Okay, this one or this one, anything is fine, because instead of this localhost, it is going to give some IP address. Okay, so anything will be fine. You can just copy this one and I'll just paste it over here. See, I can able to see that. This is the Jupyter notebook. How we can launch the Jupyter lab? Do I need to close it and write a Jupyter lab something? No. So instead of this tree, you can just remove this tree and type a lab. That's it. Wait for a second. The lab is launching now. Okay. See, this is how lab looks like. Okay. This is your local folder structure. So you can see over here, 3D objects, contact, desktop, documents. This is actually your local folder structure. And this is like that Jupyter Lab launchers. So if you want to launch this Python 3 notebook, you can launch it. If you want to launch a console, you can launch it. That also possible. Terminal, if you want to create a text file, markdown file and Python files or anything, you can just create it by using this UI. Okay. So in the Jupyter tree, what happened? So this is your local folder structure. You can see here also, you can see 3D objects and all those things, but you cannot get the UI like this. This is like, looks like it's very attractive, right? So in here, you cannot get that. So my favorite IDE is like this lab. Instead of using a Jupyter notebook, I'm just going with a Jupyter lab. Okay. So if you want to create any of the notebook in any of the particular folder, let's say I want to create a notebook in the sense, so I want to write a Python codes where I need to write. So for that, I should create a notebook. So just go inside of the documents. I want to create a notebook inside of the documents folder. So that's why I'm selecting in a folder. So, and then I want to create some folder over here. Okay. What I will do, I'll just press a new over here. In the right side of the top, you can see new button. And here you have a Python notebook, text file, folder, and terminal. But here you guys can see it over here only in this launcher page. But here you need to click on new and you can create a folder. So, okay, once you click on that folder is created. Where it is now then? So the folder is created within a by default untitled folder name. So the folder name is becoming an untitled folder. So you can just check this box and go on the top. So you can see the rename. You can just do Python batch 7. Okay. So I'll just rename this one. So now I can sort it with the last modified date. That is seconds ago, Python batch 7. So now I'm getting inside of this folder. Here I'm going to create my Python notebook. So I'll just click it on Python 3 notebook. So you can see another tab is created within a notebook page. Another tab is created. So again, so whatever the new files or new text file folder which you guys are going to create, so by default that is available with the name of untitled. So okay, you can just rename it once it is created. That is the first step you should do. I can say first Python execution. Okay, the file is created with the particular name. You guys can see it over here. First Python execution is created. If you see this within this green color, then what it means, that notebook is running. Okay, it means that the notebook is in running mode. Then you can see how this UI looks like and what are the options available in this ribbon. Okay, so here you can see logout and Python 3, that is IPython kernel. We are using Python 3 version. So that's why it's just showing in a Python 3. And if you can see trusted. So I'll come to this trusted point later. Then before that, you guys can see some of the tabs over here. File, edit, view, insert cell, kernel wedges, help. Okay. And you guys can see unsaved changes. So whatever you're going to return or created as cells and all, that is not yet saved. Okay. You can just save it. To save it, what you should do? Then a keyboard shortcut, you can just do Control S. That's it. Then, so if you go the file section, so what it is showing, new notebook. If you want to create a new notebook from this notebook, you can create it. Instead of going to previous tab, you can create a new notebook from here only. Then if you really want to open any of the existing notebook, if you already have any notebook, if you want to open that, you can just click on that open and search it over here. Okay. And see that it is going to going to your correct directory. If you really have any notebook on that particular folder, you can just select it and open it. Again and again, why it's coming, go back. Yeah. Then if you want to make a copy of this notebook, let's say if you have written 10, 13 cells of code. Okay. So you want to continue with the code within a different file. So how we can make a copy of that? You can just click on that. Okay. This will make a copy of this with the name of first Python execution _ copy. Okay. Later on, you can rename it. And if you want to save it within a different location, that also possible. You can save, you can do that, because you all are familiar with these names because the same options which you can see in any of the Windows, any of the applications, right? Like renaming, save the checkpoints, reverting the checkpoints, and download. So here we have an option like download as. Here in the notebook, so here in the notebook, we are just running a Python code. What are the formats of Python files? So we have two files. If you want to save your Python codes in the notebook format, you can go with an IPyNB. Okay, it means IPython notebook. Okay, that is notebook format. So if you download it in this format, so you can see your code in the cells format only, in this notebook format only. If you downloaded your code in the .py format, you can see this code in a single file without having any cells like that. So in a single page, like how you guys have the text file, something like that. So in the same way, you can download your codes also. Like we have two formats of files while doing coding, while downloading any of the Python scripts. Okay. So one is in a Python format, another one is in a notebook format. So anything will be okay based on the client requirements. Then we have an edit option over here. So in the edit option, you can, so this is what actually the cell. When I say cell, this is actually the cell. So here you can see cut the cell, copy the cell. If you want to delete it, split it, merge the cell above and below. So this is actually very familiar names. Okay. So this is what the exercise which I'm going to give today is. Just explore all these tabs and just select this option and try to understand what this is going to say and what are the changes is going to happen while doing these things. Okay, all of you can do that.
Yes.
Can you go to the file
Yes.
tab one more time?
Hmm.
So here, what happened when we click the revert to checkpoint?
So like you can see, you have a previous changes. Okay, so right now I just saved this in a 4 minutes ago. Okay,
Mhm.
so now I'm writing some of the codes again. I'm going to do the checkpoint save. Then if you want a changes of 4 minutes ago, what you have saved, if you want to revert it, if you do some of the mistake, it's just like an undo.
Okay,
Okay.
current changes will be revert, right?
Yeah, current changes is going to vanish and it is going to take in our previous changes.
Previous version, previous changes. Got it.
Yep.
How many checkpoints are saved? I mean, how many versions we can go back?
So
Or
how,
it's
like
only
it's
one
many,
version to go back?
it's many.
Many.
Like
Okay.
whatever the version, whatever the checkpoints you are going to create, so that is going to revert. So in the same way, you can just see in your folder. Okay, so here you cannot see that. I'll just show the one of the folder that is automatically created by your notebook. Where is that? Downloads. It is in the download. No, documents. Date modified. Batch 7. Here you can see .ipython notebook checkpoints. Here all the checkpoints is creating. Okay, in the backend. So these are the files are getting download created automatically. Why it is not showing over here? That is the question. Maybe you get it right.
Mm.
Can anyone say like why it is not showing over here? Any idea? Okay. So this is because of this naming format. You guys can see it over here. It is started within a .ipython notebook underscore checkpoints. So any files are started within a dot, then what it is showing, it is going to ignore it. It is going to hide the files because that is auto-generated files, nothing to do with the customers. So they
Yes.
don't need to make any changes and all. So if nothing to do with, if that folders or files are nothing to do with the customers and all, why I need to showcase that? Right? Because of that reason, in the back end of this Anaconda, all the things will be taken care. Okay. So now slowly you are getting the point, like why we need this Anaconda,
Yeah.
right?
But for how long these checkpoints are saved? Means if we are saving a large number of this checkpoint files itself, doesn't it impact the performance?
No, it is not
Okay.
impacting any of the
We
performance.
don't have the history for the each file, like each node.
It's just an actually
notebook.
like, let's say this is your notebook. Okay.
Yeah.
You are doing a development till how many checkpoints maximum? Are you going to do like 100,000 lines of coding over here? Again, you are going to create a new files, right? So for that new files, it is going to create a new checkpoints folder. It is not going to take a single file. So in that IPython notebook folder, it is going to save another checkpoints. So this is not going to overwrite it. Just keep on saving it. Once you deleted this file, okay, all the checkpoints is get automatically vanished.
Okay, each file having the different in that folder, creating the each
Yeah.
file related checkpoints file automatically created, or for
Yeah, it's
all.
auto.
Okay.
So you don't need to worry about that. That is actually the back-end process. But you should understand what is the checkpoints and all. Like later
Yeah,
on,
that
you
is
guys can
fine.
see
But in
that.
future, how will check the history, old code? How will we review that old code and compare to the current version and the previous versions?
That is again not possible in this notebook. Okay, this is just in a platform to code it. If you want to make a control of your versions, you need to use that version controlling tools like GitHub.
Okay.
Okay, this is not actually the version control. You cannot
Okay.
see, you cannot find any of the version controlling in your softwares. For that only you should use GitHub or
Anaconda doesn't.
repository in any of in the repository of any of the platforms. Like if you go Azure or if you go AWS, all the softwares are using particular repositories. That is another subject, version controlling.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. Then yeah. So in the view, if you go view, so you can give, we have a multiple options over here. If you go insert, so insert cell above and below. So along with that, you guys can also see some like uppercase of this letters, right? What it means? Can anyone have any guess? X, C, Shift, V, and all those things.
Shortcut.
Correct. So that's why I'm giving exercise for you all is to just explore these tabs and make familiar with these tabs. Okay, and keyboard shortcut as well. So that makes the like fast coding and faster execution and faster productivity. Okay, so how you can find a keyboard shortcut for all of these things, all of the operations in the notebook? Do you need a list of that? Do you need that list? So see here, if I want to create a cell, what I'm going to do, see, I created a cell. I created a cell above. Okay, I make this as a markdown. By keyboard, I'm doing that. Would you want to do the same thing instead of manually going over here and selecting the files and all? And if I want to execute it from the keyboard itself, I'm executing this line of code. I'm not go here and click the run button and click the interrupt button and all. Yes, if you need it, okay, just go help. Somewhere here it should be there. Yeah, keyboard shortcuts. See, you can find this entire list. Okay, is this enough for you all to make familiar with all the operations of this your notebooks or lab? So both are same, like Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Notebook. That UI is different, but working pipeline will be the same. Okay, just take a look on this one. So you can see here B. So when you see the B, okay, inserting the below cell, inserting the like a cell above. So all the keyboard shortcut will be listed over here. Okay. Any questions so far? Yeah. Another one thing which I want to highlight. Okay, somebody was texted. No. Okay. Another one thing which I want to showcase. Now you guys can see over here, not trusted. Earlier, what you guys seen in place of here?
Trusted.
Trusted, right? Why we are saying not trusted now? What is the difference between trusted and not trusted? If you guys are if you guys seeing this not trusted, in that case, you cannot run your Python code in your notebooks. Okay. It means your Python server is not running, so that's why you will not be able to run your Python code from your cells. How we can make this as a trusted? So for all these things, this kernel is the main reason. If this kernel is running correctly, then you can see the trusted notification there. If this kernel is not running, if the server is went wrong, if the server is goes down, if any unexpected behavior happened in the kernel, then what happened? This is becoming an untrusted, or you can see some red notification over here. In that case, your Python server is not executed correctly, so then you should restart your kernel. If you are just press an interrupt, what happened? If any code is executing in middle of that, it is going to vomit it. It is going to abort the execution if you press this and interrupt. So restart in the sense, if you restart this kernel, what happened? All the execution, all the variables what you have created, that is going to vanish. It is checking for a fresh execution. It is required for a fresh execution. Okay. So if I refresh it, let's see what happens. I'm going to restart it. It's like restarting your complete system. Kernel is ready. Till it is going trusted. Why? Trust it. Yes. Okay. See, another check. Yeah. Now, so restart and clear inputs and restart and run all and reconnect, shutdown. If you press the shutdown button, what happened? This notebook is going on shutdown mode. Okay. This is not going to execution mode. So here you can change your kernel if any clients has given any different Python server kernels, so that you can use it. But Anaconda by default, it is giving one kernel, that is Python 3 IPython kernel. Okay, this is what the most important part while doing an execution. Don't get scared when your Python codes is not executed on the cell. If your Python codes is not executed as expected, first you should check whether your kernel is correct or not. Okay, you should see this trusted text over here. And the next thing is you should to check now it's part of checking your code. If it is trusted, then as your Python code is not executing, it's a fault of your coding. Okay, if your coding is good, then also it is not executing, it's a fault of kernel. So this is actually a technical one that you need to correct it while doing a restarting your kernel. Is everything good? Okay, then. So I'm just taking a pause now for this Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab. So I'm giving us some small exercise for you all is to install this Anaconda in your local system and launch this Jupyter Notebook from your command prompt and explore all these tabs. Okay, and try to become familiar with these shortcuts of operations of this Jupyter Notebooks. Okay. If you guys still have any question, you can ask, and otherwise, tomorrow also we have the session. So in the very beginning, you can go ahead with that doubts. And until then, have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.